Prepare for trouble and make it a double. Yep, that's right. Today, we're going to be talking about the three goofballs themselves, Team Rocket. They've been following Ash and the gang for years now with the same goal in mind, trying to capture Pikachu. And with hundreds of failed attempts, you'd think that they'd give up by now. I mean, really, Ash's Pikachu isn't even really worth it. But no, instead they keep coming up with more and more stupid plans. And included in most of these plans are their horrible disguises. I mean, they've went as low as just putting on fake beards, disguising themselves as Ghetto Kakuna, and of course, cross-dressing. Yeah, their disguises can get pretty bad, but out of all the disguises they've ever wore on the show, which ones were truly the worst? Yep, that's right. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 worst Team Rocket disguises of all time. I'm starting off my list with episode 14 of the Indigo League. Ash tries to take on the Vermilion City gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. It was Ash's Pikachu versus Surge's Raichu. Outside, Team Rocket is watching the battle. They think that since Pikachu is getting beaten up, that they shouldn't steal it after all. Meowth thinks that they should steal Raichu, and Jesse and James wax him on the head. And then they actually start cheering for Pikachu. And well, Pikachu pretty much ended up getting wrecked. Afterwards, Ash ended up having to take Pikachu to the Pokemon Center, because it was pretty badly injured from that battle. Outside, Meowth starts crying, explaining that Pikachu would never want to be Raichu's equal. It wanted to win as a Pikachu, for the respect of Pikachu everywhere. The next day, Ash is ready for a rematch against Lieutenant Surge. However, on the way to the gym, they're blocked by Team Rocket, who are in disguise. If you can really call this a disguise. They were pretending to be cheerleaders, and ended up doing this hilarious cheer for Pikachu. Seriously, what the heck is Jessie doing here? She looked like she eating the booty. These disguises were probably some of the most obvious ones they ever wore, but surprisingly, they were caught off guard when Misty recognized them. I mean, they were waving around a flag with a big red R on it, and Meowth had R's on his fans as well, but yet they were surprised that they were recognized? But then again, they do wear pretty bad disguises and don't get recognized in future episodes. Speaking of which... in episode 48 of the Indigo League, James finds himself back at the place where he grew up, his parents' mansion. After figuring out that James was actually a millionaire, Jesse and Meowth attempt to take advantage of the situation by forcing James to go back to see his family in order to get money from them. Jesse and Meowth disguise themselves by putting on all black clothes, thinking that for some reason this would make them invisible. I mean, seriously? This has got to be one of the dumbest disguises that they've ever put on. It's like the people that wear full camouflage in Walmart. Yeah, we can still see you. Unfortunately. The black outfits are actually based on the assistants in traditional Japanese theater, who are considered to be invisible by the cultural rules of the theater. Of course, these disguises didn't work, and James's family knows that Jesse and Meowth are there, but pretend not to know until they have James where they wanted him. They end up getting away in the end, and hopefully learn their lesson not to wear such crappy disguises anymore. Yeah, right. Because the worst are yet to come. In the Johto episode, The Heartbreak of Brock, a girl named Tamaku falls in love with Brock after he saves her from falling. She invites them all to stay at her family's home for dinner. Tamaku takes them for a walk around her house. That's when Team Rocket storms in, and as usual tries to steal all of their Pokemon. Of course they fail, but end up accidentally stealing Tamaku instead. She ends up falling in love with James. James is put off and Jesse says they should abandon her. But Tamaku, being a daughter of a Pokemon professor, means Team Rocket may actually have a chance to steal some Pokemon. Jesse and James take Tamaku home. And Jesse of course tells a lie about how they found these terrorists and defeated them to save Tamaku. Ash and the gang make their way toward the house to find Tamaku having dinner with two mysterious strangers. Who could they possibly be? Jesse and James's disguises in this episode were so bad that even Misty immediately recognized them. And that's a pretty rare occurrence. All she had to do was remove Jesse's glasses and... Team Rocket have wore a lot of disguises where they simply just put on some glasses or a fake mustache, and they expect that to make them look like totally different people. And no matter how bad their disguise is, it usually fools Ash in the game. But for some reason this time, they got called out for it. Props to Misty for actually catching on to their horrible disguises. And now we have another episode from the Johto region, Wobapalooza. Ash, Misty, and Brock find a town called Wobbuffet Village, where everybody owns a Wobbuffet. The village is in the middle of its annual Wobbuffet Festival. Team Rocket, who are of course nearby, get invited to celebrate the festival as well. Since Jessie actually has a Wobbuffet, they're treated to a buffet of free food. But that's just not enough for them. They later find the festival's storehouse where all of the food is kept. And of course, like the stingy butt munchers they are, they plan on taking all of the food for themselves. But just in time, Ash and the gang come running up to try and catch them in the act. But instead, they end up seeing this. I don't know about you guys, but all I see are bushes. They end up getting spotted by Ash of all people. Yeah, believe it or not, he finally caught on to one of their horrible disguises. I know, it's a friggin' miracle. Usually he'd be asking those trees if they've seen Team Rocket. These disguises are hilarious, and one of my all-time favorites, even though they're terrible. In the 4th episode of the Diamond and Pearl anime, Dawn of a New Era, Dawn is still trying to catch her first wild Pokemon, but Ash's coaching isn't helping at all, and both trainers are getting annoyed. They end up deep in the forest, and since it was getting pretty late, they needed a place to stay for the night. They're approached by 2 suspicious people who offer them a free room at their inn. And now, I introduce the worst Team Rocket disguises ever. It's like they didn't even give a crap at all at this point. They're in their rocket uniforms with only a small green jacket slightly covering their uniform. You'd think that by Gen 4 that Team Rocket would have become better at disguising themselves. But apparently they've gotten worse. Ash and the gang somehow actually fail to spot the enormous red R's on their chests, even though they couldn't be more obvious. Anyway, the wind blows and the building, which was actually a really large propped up board, falls over and removes Team Rocket's disguise. It was Jessie and James all along. Mind blown! They end up blasting off again and the plot moves on without them. These were the worst disguises that they ever wore on the show. Even worse than the bushes. In the X and Y anime, they seem to have gotten a bit better at disguising themselves, so maybe in a future video, I'll go over what I think some of their best and most convincing disguises are. Let me know some of your favorite Team Rocket disguises in the comments section below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, @BrandonThePast, for updates and funny Pokemon pictures. Thank you all for watching, this has been Brandon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.